I hate that it's necessary, but I once again feel the need to get a little serious before we get silly, and send our hearts out to those affected by the shootings in Boulder and Virginia Beach. Once again, after a moment of silence for the victims, we'll get the conversation started. Hello and welcome to LexiCon. It is Maddie, along with
Lexi.
Dylan.
Now, we said we like to get silly, and what could be sillier than kid shows?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, to be fair, there's a lot of really good children's shows, many of which offer just as much to older viewers as to younger viewers. Oh, a quick sidebar, since we're talking about children's shows, do kids' movies grow up to be adult films?
I'm sorry, I didn't have an audible reaction to that.
I'm sorry, that's one of my personal favorite original dad jokes. Anyway, two of the biggest purveyors of children's shows are, of course, Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel.
Yes.
Now, I know you have a list of shows from both that we're going to go over, which was sort of the genesis for the idea of this episode. But if you don't mind, first, I want to share some of my early experiences and recollections with the two.
You do that.
All right, cool. I grew up with Nickelodeon, much more so than Disney Channel.
Nickelodeon's only slightly older than you.
It's older than me.
April 1st, 1979.
So same year, though.
Yes.
Lots of things came out the same year that I did. So to speak. Nickelodeon, I believe ESPN did,
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Years ago,
79 was a big
when we
year.
were all celebrating our 20th and 25th anniversaries, it was, because what is a birthday but an anniversary?
Yes.
I remember seeing a lot of things that had that in common with me. But anyway, as I was going to say, I definitely grew up with Nickelodeon, much more so than Disney Channel. But my early childhood didn't even really feature Nickelodeon. It was Saturday morning cartoons, and a lot of the broadcast networks would also, more of the local affiliates, but it was still the broadcast networks, would play cartoons like Transformers and G.I. Joe, maybe Ghostbusters, in the afternoons after the soap operas and before the evening news and the primetime shows would start. So that's pretty much what I would get to see, because we didn't even have cable in my neighborhood until the late 80s. It just wasn't available out in the country where we lived. I did get to watch Nickelodeon at some of my grandparents' house because they had cable. You lived there for a while too. Out in the country there, it took a while for cable to get there. It was still fairly new. But anyway,
How is cable still fairly new?
cable only goes back to the 70s. And something like that takes a while to get out in the sticks. But my grandparents, who lived a city over in the state capital, they had cable, so I'd get to see Nickelodeon when we'd visit them, which was pretty much every Sunday and most holidays and other occasions. So I did get to see it some then. And one of my friends in the neighborhood had a satellite dish, which was a way to get a lot of the same programming if you didn't have access to cable. So I got a little bit of Nickelodeon through them. And back then, the main thing I remember from Nickelodeon wasn't a cartoon per se, which a lot of these shows we're going to talk about are. Some of them are live action, and this one actually was. And it actually wasn't even a Nickelodeon production. It was a Canadian show called You Can't Do That on Television, which is actually where Canadian singer-songwriter Alanis Morissette, who played God in this universe, specifically Dogma, and at the very tail end credit scene of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Anyway, that's where she got her start as an actress before she was, big on the music scene. It was a sketch comedy show like In Living Color or Saturday Night Live or All That or Mad TV, featuring a mostly young cast with a couple of regular adults, and it had sort of a gross-out humor, cutting-edge type sketches. Like one recurring one was the kids were visiting the I don't remember if it was like a school cafeteria, lunchroom kind of place, or if it was like supposed to be like a diner, but it was an eating place.
Place for food.
And the food was like horribly inedible to the point they would always get sick eating it.
Not good place.
And like instead of getting sent to detention, the kids would get sent to face a firing squad. And I mean, dark humor maybe, but still played for humor. But the biggest takeaway from the show was that anytime one of the cast members would say, "I don't know," they would get slimed. And that's the birth of the famous green slime that is synonymous with Nickelodeon now.
Yes.
Along with that, one of the big things early Nickelodeon were the little short advertisements for the channel itself. The Nick Nickelodeon, accompanied by all kinds of cool and varying styles of animation and art, and of course the ever-present orange color. Lots of orange things: balloons, skateboards, shoes, blimps, etc., etc.
Yes.
That was a big part of early Nickelodeon. I remember another show that I watched regularly, but apparently not enough to remember it much. I don't remember what it was called, what it was about. I think maybe there was a female lead, but I'm not sure. It wasn't like drawn animation. it was something else, either claymation or papercraft or some kind of stop motion animation.
Yeah.
But again, I may be completely misremembering and mixing up with something else because I can't remember much else about it. But I do have a recollection of seeing that at my grandparents' house. I think Nickelodeon might have been the place I watched Danger Mouse too, which was a British cartoon about a secret agent mouse, which I've referenced before. Dylan knows I always mark out anytime we see Danger Mouse. I love Danger Mouse. But again, I don't think that was an original Nick production. It's just something they happened to show.
On scale of 1 to 10, how dangerous is that mouse?
42.
Holy fuck.
Also, I remember there being like a talk show. Not like a late night talk show like The Tonight Show or The Late Show. More like a Good Morning America or a TRL Live kind of thing where you have like a host or hosts up in a stand-up studio. Not stand-up comedy, but they're literally standing up. They might have had a sit-down portion of the set too, but they have guests on, they'd show clips from movies, and they'd do different things. But again, I can't remember anybody who was on it or what it was called. The only thing I remember about it is one time they reviewed Godzilla toys, and they had one that was like a robot Godzilla. And I don't know if it was specifically supposed to be Mecha Godzilla or if it was just a robotic Godzilla.
Yeah.
But I thought it was, and it had like a rocket launcher.
Interesting.
And I thought that was so cool, and I always wanted to get it, and I never did, never saw it anywhere, because this is way pre-internet days, at least for the mainstream.
Gotta load up eBay.
I could never find it. But we can do that. We can do that off the show.
Facts.
But those are the earliest things. Oh yeah, and The Adventures of Pete and Pete was another early Nickelodeon show.
Pete and Pete.
About brothers, one older, one a little younger, but they were named Pete and Pete. And the younger brother Pete had a tattoo of like a dancing lady that he could make dance. And these were actually the very definitely a mini series, because they were like 2 or 3 minute long episodes, the kind of things that would play in between other shows. And then they eventually got a full length show that still followed the same characters and storylines. But I always really liked Pete and Pete.
Who the fuck would name the kids Pete and Pete?
The writers of that show.
Oh man. That actually reminds me of a show that Disney XD had for a little while.
But anyway, that's most of what I remember early on in Nickelodeon. There were a couple other live action shows that were probably more early 90s, maybe late 80s. There was Salute Your Shorts, which took place at a summer camp, and Hey Dude, which took place on a dude ranch. Both decent enough shows, sort of Saved by the Bell type shows, just in a different location. And of course, then with the late 80s, early 90s came the birth of the original Nick Toons. Ren and Stimpy, Rugrats, Doug, which was an original Nick Toon, which, ironically enough, would wind up as a Disney property when it would move to ABC, and then Disney would purchase ABC.
Interesting.
But it actually began as a Nick Toon. And I always think that there were 4 original Nick Toons, but I can only remember those 3 for sure. I'm pretty sure Rocko's Modern Life came a little later. If there was a 4th one, it might have been Ah Real Monsters, but I didn't watch Ah Real Monsters whenever it was on, so it wouldn't really stick out with me. But I think there were 4 original Nicktoons, but certainly Rugrats, and especially Ren and Stimpy, were 2 of my all-time favorites. And Doug was good too, but it also moved off of Nickelodeon fairly quickly.
Was best.
And like I said, once Rocko came along, that was one of my favorite shows.
Nice.
I did watch All That, which is a show I mentioned would have come along a few years after the Nicktoons, a sketch comedy show. I watched it a bit and enjoyed it, and I think I watched Keenan and Kel when they first got their show, but by the time they were doing the Good Burger movie, I had already kind of outgrown the Nick stuff until you guys came along. And of course, this is not going to be on any of this list or anything, but speaking of my early experiences with Nickelodeon, Nick at Night was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Where they would switch from children's programming to more adult-oriented stuff. No, they're not showing softcore porn, but they're showing like classic sitcoms.
And waking me up every night to the George Lopez song.
That was way later.
Yeah, much later, but it was still Nick at Night.
When I first started watching in the late 80s, it was, 50s and 60s sitcoms.
Yeah.
Like My Three Sons was one of my favorites, Car 54, Where Are You?, The Dick Van Dyke Show, of course. I think The Munsters and maybe The Addams Family had a run on it, but I may have watched them on other channels. I remember when the Monkees debuted on Nick at Night, and they did a marathon on one Sunday afternoon that I watched at my grandparents' house. And we may well have had Nickelodeon by that time, but like I said, we spent most Sundays at my grandparents' house, so I just happen to remember watching it then. And I became a really big Monkees fan after that. And also classic Saturday Night Live came to Nick at Night at one point. Same format, they did a marathon on like a Sunday and then introduced it to Nick at Night. Of course, it was cut up into half-hour episodes instead of the 90-minute runtime of the actual Saturday Night Live. But that's where I fell in love with things like Land Shark and Mr. Bill, the little claymation dude who always got bullied by Sluggo, and Mr. Hand. You just have to see it to understand it. Maybe you still wouldn't understand it, but I loved it. And I loved the episodes where Steve Martin would guest. He and Dan Aykroyd did a bit where they were 2 wild and crazy guys, and I always got a big kick out of that.
Nice.
But that was pretty much my Nickelodeon experience. But it was definitely a big part of my childhood. It certainly wasn't the only part of my childhood. But I got much more experience with Nickelodeon than I did with Disney Channel because Nickelodeon was part of basic cable. And nowadays, I suppose, we don't even have cable anymore, but the last time we did, there were so many different tiers of cable. We had the movie tier and this tier and that tier, and you could pay more to get these channels and pay to get these channels and whatnot. But this was back before even digital cable, where you'd have basic and digital cable. This was just basic cable, was whatever cable channels were available in your area, you got. So you got USA and WGN and ESPN and the Weather Channel and Nickelodeon, etc., etc. The only exceptions were the pay channels, and I'm not talking about like pay-per-view where you pay for just a specific movie or event. But you would just pay a monthly fee to get access to that channel. And our cable system at the time had HBO, the movie channel, Cinemax, and the Disney Channel. Disney Channel was actually a pay station like those, and of course Showtime. Showtime was another one that we would eventually get. Stars came along, IFC, those kind of channels. I don't know how much. I know that a lot of them still exist in one form or another, but of course with streaming and digital services, it's all different. But back then, like I say, you got your cable and you got whatever was available in your area, and Nickelodeon was just a part of that, so I got to see it a lot. And the Disney Channel was a pay channel. And actually, when we first got cable, we did get Disney Channel. We got HBO and the Disney Channel. But I don't really remember watching Disney Channel that much, to be quite honest with you. And after a couple of years, we dropped Disney Channel. I think we had HBO the entire life of our cable. Me and my parents. I watched a lot of HBO.
I personally think of HBO as one of the expensive channels.
And at different times, we might have Cinemax or Showtime either for a period of time or because there was a free trial or they were part of a package. But HBO was always there. But we kept Disney Channel for a couple of years, but I kind of outgrew it and never really had that much use for it. Like, I didn't dislike it, but it just wasn't a big part of my viewing, and I guess it wasn't enough for my parents to keep it. But then in the late 90s, or maybe very early 2000s, it became just a regular cable channel. I mean, maybe it wasn't on so-called basic, but this was before digital cable, I think.
Okay, Disney became regular.
I think we got digital cable we got digital cable before you were born. So 2000, we got digital cable. So it could have been part of the digital tier, but it wasn't something you had to pay extra for in and of itself. So it was there, it was readily available, and of course, when you came along, it became a big part of your viewing and my viewing by extension. So those are sort of my early recollections and experiences of Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. So do you guys want to share some of your thoughts, or you just want to get into the list and share them as we go along?
I'll probably just share mine as we go along.
Yeah.
Alright, sounds good. So you have a list, I believe, of all the shows, or at least the majority of the shows to air on one of these channels?
Yes.
Of course, I have more experiences with Disney and Nickelodeon since then, but a lot of them come along with you guys, so I figured I'd just share those in those sections.
Alright. So I have a list pulled up for Nickelodeon right now.
Are these chronological or alphabetical?
That part, I believe it's chronological, except Nickelodeon is actually divided up differently than the Disney list. I don't know why. Both these lists are coming from Wikipedia. So, I'm going to start with the FOMO programming section for Nickelodeon.
Oh, this is so we're going to go back and forth between ages?
Well, probably because with Nickelodeon, they have an entire section for FOMO programming, another one for current programming, and also one for future programming. Okay, now also another note on this Nickelodeon list, they are divided up. We have like animated and then other types of shows.
See, I sure would have loved a master. I sure would have loved a master list.
That would probably be nice, but this is for whatever reason how they decided to organize the Nickelodeon content.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Probably just like one guy.
I don't think Disney is organized this way. I could be wrong. I can go check. Let's see. Yeah, when it comes to Disney, they're separated by Disney's different channels. It seems like. So. That's
my favorite Disney channel is Disney Channel.
I mean, reasonable, you know.
Yeah.
But
it is the Disney
now they also include Disney Plus, which I mean makes sense, but you know, that wasn't there when you and I found this list.
Just go ahead and go to the list, and then we'll just deal with it. Whatever we've got, we've got.
All right, so starting with the Nicktoons, like you.
We're gonna start with Nicktoons, okay? If I'm not mistaken, Nicktoons would have started either the very late '80s or early '90s.
It seems like early '90s because the first one on the list is Doug, August 11th,
Doug,
1991.
Like I said, I remember the original group, and Doug was one of them.
Doug is the same date as Rugrats
Yep.
and Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, those are the original three that I can always remember. Is there not a fourth one that started around the same time?
No.
Okay, then I've just been misremembering all the years. Those were the only original Nicktoons. For some reason, I always had in my head there was a fourth one that I couldn't remember, and I guess the reason I couldn't remember is because it didn't exist.
The fourth one was the friends you made along the way.
I was going to say, that there's just like one probably really absurd show that even Nickelodeon has erased at this point. And that's probably what you remember. You know? But no, all of those were in 91.
I remember the big campaign. The Nicktoons is the first original cartoons from Nickelodeon. That was a big deal, and they're all great. And of course,
classics.
Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy have especially lasted the test of time. But Doug has too. But again, it's become more associated with Disney than Nick.
Okay, I just want to point out the finale dates. Doug was in 94. Ren and Stimpy was in 95. Rugrats was in 2004.
Of course, that was just for original episodes. They still played reruns. And Doug, I imagine, had episodes after that.
Possibly.
Maybe not, but it definitely, because it was part of the ABC Saturday Morning, and then it was part of the Disney Afternoon block.
Yeah. Alright, then in 93, Rocco's Modern Life.
Rocco was great.
I never watched it.
Didn't they had a movie recently?
Yeah, one of the
And I
characters trans.
really wanted to watch it, but we hadn't gotten around to it yet. We will though. But I love
I've never
Rocco.
seen
I knew
Rocco's
Rocco
Life.
wasn't
Neither.
one of the original ones, but I knew it was still fairly early.
Yeah.
Rocco was great too.
Yeah, 94 was
I put Rocco
Monsters.
ahead of. Rocco's ahead of Doug, but I also want to say Rocco's sort of like the above water SpongeBob. but I don't know. It's just that sort of silly kind of world. I think it's maybe a little more serious than SpongeBob as far as funny cartoon shows go. But I definitely see some similarities between the two.
Nice. We got two in 96.
Okay.
Hey Arnold and Kablam.
Yeah, I'm familiar with both of them, but I didn't watch them much because 96 I turned 17, so I was kind of outgrowing Nicktoons by then.
I'm gonna make the comment that I remember Hey Arnold, but I'm also gonna make the comment that I did not exist in the 90s.
I was gonna say Hey Arnold
remember that one
was super
guy.
popular for people of a
That's all I know.
certain age, but like I say, I was kind of moving on to other stuff by then.
You know that
Yeah.
one guy?
Yeah, that one guy.
Which again is not to say there's any certain age you have to be to enjoy this stuff. It's
Definitely
just
not.
in your life when you hit certain
Yeah.
places in your life, you tend to move from one thing to another, and that was the time that I was moving away from this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Wouldn't really get back much into it until you guys came along.
Yeah. This one actually premiered April 19th, 97.
Predated you by 4 years.
Yep, precisely 4 years. And it is The Angry Beavers.
I remember the Angry Beavers. Again, not something
Why
I
the
watched
Angry?
regularly, but I was familiar with them.
Why
Because
the
why
angry?
not?
What makes the beaver so
I
angry?
mean, don't get me wrong. I was still watching cartoons at this time and things would be considered children's programming. I
Yeah.
definitely check in on some Tasmania, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons. That was some of my favorite shows at the time. So it was just, it was. I just wasn't necessarily checking for all of this. I gotta
Yeah.
see what's on Nickelodeon. If something caught my eye, I'd be into it, and I just happened to be into other stuff
That's
at the time.
Continue on. This is one that I really like that I'm pretty sure you don't care for that much. But in 98, Cat Dog.
I thought Cat Dog was the biggest waste of a concept ever.
I love Cat Dog.
Cat Dog
I have so many
was
questions
a
about
huge
Cat
disappointment.
I don't question it. I just enjoy it.
Dog. How do you merge a cat? How do you merge a cat and a dog?
Just a
The
huge.
cells don't even work together.
It's a fucking cartoon. That's how it works.
How do they poop?
How does the sponge live underwater?
Well, sponges do live under.
I meant that whole thing though in a fucking pineapple, looking at a burger restaurant.
Now that makes perfect sense.
And he's not a freaking sea sponge. He's a dishwashing sponge.
Well, to be fair, that's where sponges started.
Well,
You
yeah,
can still
but
use
still.
natural sponges.
He's treated like a sponge that we have sitting in our kitchen. That is not a natural
Same
sponge.
difference.
And there's a freaking squirrel.
Can't we talk about
In
this
a
once you get to
spacesuit.
SpongeBob on the list?
No,
Probably, but
hey, that's not
still.
a spacesuit.
Hey,
That's
a
an underwater
spacesuit.
suit.
Speaking of, there's this new SpongeBob movie on Paramount
Yeah.
Plus, or whatever the streaming service is called,
Yeah.
and it shows SpongeBob and Sandy and Patrick all when they were kids. But I don't think
No.
SpongeBob knew
Is that
Sandy.
the movie or the side series?
I don't know what
it's
it
a
is.
movie as
I'm
far
pretty
as I
sure
know.
it's a movie, yeah.
Okay.
It does sort of remind me of the Flintstone kids, where in the Flintstone TV series,
Yeah.
you see when Fred and Barney met Betty and Wilma, and they were either old teenagers or young adults.
Yeah.
But then you have the Flintstone kids where they all knew each other's kids, and even though that sort of broke canon, I really love the Flintstone kids cartoon. So I can allow for it. I'm just saying it does.
I would say
Yeah.
it's not canon.
I personally have to question what Nick is currently doing with
It's the deep SpongeBob canon.
But yeah, that doesn't make sense. The whole kid thing.
Yeah.
And
All right.
apparently they're retconning Patrick's family. But anyway, yeah. So continuing in '98, we've got two other shows. We've got Oh Yeah Cartoons and The Wild Thornberrys.
Yeah, I remember the Wild Thornberrys mainly because they did a crossover movie with Rugrats. I mean, I knew
Yeah.
of them before that, but that's my biggest exposure to them.
That's
What was the other one?
Oh Yeah Cartoons.
I don't remember that at all by name. If I saw it, I might say, "Oh yeah, I remember that," but I certainly don't remember it by name.
Yeah, with The Wild Thornberrys, I mainly just know them from the Rugrats thing.
Wild Thornberrys had...
The Rugrats
that
movies
one
are
guy.
all really good.
You know that one guy?
Yes, that one guy.
Yeah, that one guy.
Mr. Thornberry.
I don't know.
Or are you talking
There's
about
also
the?
a monkey.
Yeah, there's. Okay. Anyway,
That
I don't remember enough of it to talk about.
Yeah.
It. I really only saw them in the Rugrats movie.
Yeah, okay. 99 Rocket Power and 2000 As Told by Ginger.
Rocket Power was 99.
Yes.
I don't know.
That was like the Extreme Sports show, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was, which I guess makes sense, but Extreme Sports would go back to the mid-90s at least. See, I thought Rocket Power was way earlier than that. I watched that a little bit for sure, if it's the one I'm thinking of. And As Told by Ginger, the name sounds familiar, but I don't remember watching it at all.
It's one of those that I kind of know, but it's not really something I've ever cared about. I just know it as one of the Nick Toons, you know?
Yeah. And again, this was, I was 20 in 99, so...
Yeah. Okay, well now we're getting into early 2000s. We're getting into, like, my favorite part of the Nick Toons. But looking at these dates, I have so many questions, because they're almost just as old as me. Some of them
I was
are
going to
as
say,
old
we're
as
getting
me.
into your era now.
Yes.
And of course, you're familiar with ones that predate you even, so that's not crazy.
But at the same time, it's like, that show's the same age as me, you know? But starting 2001, March 30th,
Yep.
Invader Zim. I love Invader Zim.
Never watched
I
Invader
know,
Zim.
right? I did not think Invader
2013 show.
I did not think
No, I knew
Invader Zim
Invader
was
Zim was
20
old, but-
years old.
I've never watched it.
But good, he's so freaking
Which is weird
cute.
because you seem to like it so much, but we didn't really watch it when you were kids.
No, it was like really popular. I remember it being like really popular in like 5th grade and stuff like that. And there was actually a friend I had who was obsessed with Invader Zim. Had him all over her binder
Invader
and
Zim
stuff.
is awesome.
I love Invader Zim. I love Gur. That's what I love.
Yeah.
But then also, same day in 2001, The Fairly Odd Parents. Again, not a show I thought was 20 years old.
That might be that might be a sensitive topic with all the shit about Butch Hartman, but I liked the show a lot.
I did like the
Again,
show.
watching it with y'all. I never watched it before you came along, but we watched a lot of it together.
There wasn't much
Remember
of a
the
chance
movie?
to watch it before I came along.
Well, yeah, but even when you were like a year old, you wouldn't have cared about it, so I could
That's
have gotten
true.
into it before you.
True.
But I
Remember
did.
the
But
movie?
And hey, I'm sure there's shows on Nick and Disney Channel or Cartoon Network or things that are kid shows that I might see without you or get into. So that's all I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I only watched it because y'all were into it, but I got into it along with y'all.
Yeah. Here's one that I don't recognize from 2002 called Chalk Zone.
Chalk Zone.
Yes.
I recognize it. It's like a kid would draw stuff on a chalkboard and they would go into that world or something.
Interesting.
We
So
watched it. We
Blue's
watched it a little bit, but not
Nice.
much. Just go ahead. I'll bring it up later.
Alright, continuing in 2002, The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius.
Yeah.
Jimmy
I remember
Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron.
For some reason,
That's a good one.
One of my
Really good
least
one.
favorite of the ones we all watched together, but still decent.
Yeah.
And I like it. Did it? They did a cross. Was that it? Did it do a crossover with Fairly Odd
Yes,
Parents?
at least one.
Yeah,
Those are pretty good.
whenever I think of
twice.
Jimmy Neutron, I always think of Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, I think those shows.
Whenever I
kinda go
think
together.
Fairly Odd Parents, I don't think Jimmy Neutron.
Here's a show from 2003 that I would not have expected to have been from 2003. All Grown Up.
Oh, the Rugrats sequel.
God.
Rugrats was still going.
Yeah, but my dad did not like that. He thought it.
Really?
He thought it. It totally took away the spirit of the original Rugrats. I guess to see them grown up. We didn't have any. I just we talked about it in passing
Yeah.
once or twice. We didn't have in-depth conversations about it. But he thought it really went against the spirit of Rugrats.
Yeah, I
thought it was
remember
pretty- I thought it was pretty good for what it was.
I
It's
watched
not
like
something-
one episode of it. Can you guess which one?
The one on the Game Boy.
Yep.
I want to say it was either like a television movie or just a special episode of Rugrats originally, and it was not all grown up; it was all growed up.
Uh-huh.
So we actually saw those characters in another setting originally, and then it became a full spin-off series. But I thought it was fine for what it was, but I didn't watch a lot of it.
Yeah, I remember there was some point of time where I didn't care for it a
In
whole
fact,
lot.
I'm sure I only watched it anytime you guys watched it. I don't think it was when I saw it out on my own.
Yeah, and of course I do prefer Rugrats to it, but I kind of like it. I remember it being pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 3 things on that little Game Boy thing was All Grown Up, Fairly Odd Parents, and the best episode of SpongeBob.
Yes.
Second best.
Krusty Pizza is the pizza for you and me.
The Ripped Pants episode is the best.
Nah, Krusty Krab Pizza.
2003.
Maybe the one
still.
with the band is better too, with Sweet Victory.
Krusty Krab Pizza.
Look, there's a lot of good episodes of SpongeBob. We could probably dedicate
like
a whole
7,
episode to
to be
SpongeBob
honest.
if y'all wanted to.
There's like 7 good episodes.
How many freaking years have there been of SpongeBob?
We've only seen like
Too many.
5% of SpongeBob. SpongeBob has a lot of episodes.
I feel like we've probably seen most of SpongeBob.
And
to
it's
be
still
fair.
going on.
Facts. Anyway, 2003. My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Yeah.
I remember watching
Good
that a
show.
little bit. Again, with you guys, it's not one I ever got
Reminds
too
me of like
deep
Powerpuff
into.
Girls.
Yeah, kind of. A good show.
Yeah, I
Speaking of
thought it was
Powerpuff
Cartoon
Girls,
Network. Then like
Like I
it's
said,
Same.
we should probably do an episode on Cartoon Network.
We really
too, at some
should.
point.
Yeah,
I
Cartoon
think
Network is awesome.
We won't get to it today, but
Probably not, but...
It was like the best cartoons.
I mean, yeah, if you're looking for cartoons, definitely Cartoon Network.
Yeah, you're looking for cartoons, go to the cartoon place. Nick is like half and half in Disney. I feel like it's live action.
I should do an
stuff
episode
more
back on all
memorable.
the Saturday morning cartoons I used to watch too that you guys have probably never seen.
Yes.
But we'll save that for another time.
Yes, 2004, Danny Phantom. Freaking
Danny
love Danny
Phantom.
Phantom.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Good
much
show.
of
Part of the Butch
Phantom.
Hartman canon, though, I believe. About the boy who's half phantom,
Yeah.
can
Danny
become a
Phantom.
phantom.
Yeah, I do believe it is
I like Danny
the
Phantom.
same person, but
No,
the show was still good. I still like the show and the character.
again,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's something I
well,
would have gotten into if it weren't for y'all being into it first, but it was
Well,
one.
glad you
It was
had
one I
kids,
definitely
maybe.
enjoyed watching with you.
You
Yeah, like
gotta watch
everyone
some good
loves it, but I
TV.
just don't remember it really.
Get out of here.
He's like he's Danny Phantom. That's all I know.
Okay, here's some 3 shows from 2005. Finally getting to you.
Yay!
We have Avatar: The Last Airbender, Cat Scratch, and The X's.
Okay, let's take the latter two first. I have no memory of either.
Me neither.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of the greatest television
Yes.
shows of all time.
One of the
Just
greatest
absolutely
televisions.
fantastic. And it still bugs me that y'all wouldn't stay home and watch the finale with me.
I'm sorry, I have no memory. I would
And that
do
probably
it
would have been
now.
like 2008 or 2009, and I was home, maybe
Look.
2007. I was home all by myself watching that epic finale just so y'all could go to fucking Kmart.
Look, I was like
apologize.
4.
I have no memory.
Yeah,
of
and a
this.
4-year-old should have loved to stay home and watch Avatar with their dad, but no, you want to sit in a fucking van and go to Kmart.
Look,
have
Sissy
no
was going to
memory of
Kmart,
this.
so I was like,
I apologize. I'd be happy to sit and watch it with you nowadays. I know it's not the same, but
Don't, I just rewatched it not that long ago.
I need to go through
Yeah,
and rewatch.
Fucking amazing.
I want to watch
Last
Legend.
Airbender.
I want to watch Legend of Korra.
Aang-
I've seen like the
Aang's-
first season.
Aang's fight against the Fire Lord is just awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, the whole last battle against the Fire Nation is amazing. The whole series is amazing.
The first
Highly-
season of Legend of Korra is pretty good.
Highly recommend Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm not as big on Legend of Korra. It was okay, but I don't know. It didn't.
Well, we've only seen the first season. There's 3 more.
I understand, but it didn't hook me the same way like And to be fair, I didn't watch Avatar from start to finish. I would just see bits and pieces of it, and every time I see it, like, this is fucking amazing, and I watch it a little bit, and then I drop out of it, and I've gone back and seen most episodes now. But yeah, it is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now the movie, we won't talk about
No,
that.
no, no.
Don't even go
Oh,
there.
watching it.
Isn't Netflix doing something with Last Airbender?
Yeah, but aren't they like changing something?
I don't know. I haven't heard much recently about it.
Well, do you need just a carbon copy of what you already got? If you just want to see what you already got, just rewatch it. Of course.
What? It's a live
course they should
action.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't they doing like a live action movie or something for it?
I thought it was a live action
Series.
series.
Is it a series? I don't know.
Yeah, but I thought they're like changing some things or
They
something.
might be. I don't know.
I guess
Or they
we'll
were
see.
like, we're no longer working with the original developers.
Yeah,
on it because
they dropped out of it
Yeah.
because of differences.
And that does not give me hope for
No.
it.
It's like, and
But
that's
no.
how you ended up with the movie. Continuing on in 2007, we got El Tigre: The Adventures of Manny Rivera.
Frick is that?
I sort of
love that
remember
show.
that. Was that the guy who was a luchador?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those shows that I remember, and I remember it being really good, but I don't remember it
A luchador is
clearly
basically a
anymore.
Mexican professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A good show.
Yeah, I remember that. Not enough to recall it without you saying it. But once you
Exactly.
say it, I'm like, yeah, I remember watching that a bit.
Yeah. What? You
Sort of a for you, Dylan, sort of a guacamole feel to it.
Other
like
than
Kid
that,
Guacamole.
Kid Guacamole.
I assume this is pronounced Talk in the Power of Juju.
Oh, I remember
I know
that.
I don't remember
from
it
the
off
Sort of
SpongeBob
like
game.
sort of like Polynesian flair, where he had like the tiki gods and stuff.
I know
I
from the
don't
SpongeBob
remember
game.
it.
I remember the song like Power of Juju. I remember
Yeah.
that much of it, but
Yeah, he's in the SpongeBob Globs of Doom or
Nice.
whatever.
Like I said, I don't
That's why I
remember
know
it just from name. Also in 2007, the last one was Back at the Barnyard.
that was from the movie Barnyard.
Yeah.
I liked the show though. We watched that a good bit, especially when you remember it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
remember
pretty sure.
some of it.
You liked it when you were a kid. That was one of. I'm not
No.
saying it's at the level of Danny
I'm saying-
Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents at all, but I mean it's solid.
Here's some 2008 shows.
Look, hey, it's just as good as Penguins of Madagascar.
Speaking of Penguins of Madagascar, here's some 2008 shows, one of which is great. The other one I don't remember loving, but I remember him loving, even though he claims to have no memory of
Give us the
it.
great one first.
Well, the great one is the Penguins of Madagascar.
Kowalski. Options.
And then the other one was
Wait. I've thought of some options. Would anybody like to hear them? But overall, it was just an okay show. But the penguins themselves were really cool.
Yes.
All right.
But
Of course, a spin-off from the movie Madagascar,
Yes.
obviously. Which, you know what? Never seen. Haven't seen Madagascar or
I
Madagascar.
feel like I've seen a little bit.
I think
of
we've
it.
seen. Wasn't
I've
there?
seen
There,
them. At
there,
least one of
there was a
them.
Penguins movie too, and I think we've seen
think so.
that.
I know I've seen
But
at least
I've
one
never
of the
seen-
Madagascar
I don't-
movies.
If I have, gosh, I don't remember seeing it.
Does anybody in this room remember what the zebra says instead of saying shit?
No,
Damn it.
because I don't think I've seen
I
it.
know it's been all over TikTok.
I don't know. All I know is like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other show from 2008 was The Mighty Bee. And
Oh,
he
Mighty Bee
claims
was
he doesn't
great.
remember
I don't
it.
remember.
Remember
He
Mighty Bee?
loved that as a kid. I remember him loving
I remember
it.
watching that a bunch.
I'm googling it.
You do that. 2009, we got one, and it was Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Oh, I remember.
I remember the
Yeah.
name,
I
but I
remember
don't
it.
remember enough of it to be like, hey, that was great, or oh, that was shit.
I think it was kind of one of. It was good. I wouldn't. We're getting into some stuff that I kind of know, but
Yeah, I remember.
I
now.
wouldn't necessarily say great, you know? And I think it kind of fell in with all that. 2010, we got Planet Sheen and Tough Puppy. Does anybody remember those?
No.
I vaguely remember Tough Puppy,
Yeah.
but mainly because
I know Tough
mainly
Puppy,
because
but
we
I
just
don't-
watched a video not that
I don't
long ago
remember
where somebody
anything.
referenced it. I think it was Connor.
Yeah.
I like very
And seeing it, I'm like,
much
I kind of remember that, but I
Yeah.
think maybe we were either more focused on Disney or video games or something
Probably.
else. Y'all were probably more focused on YouTube by that point.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
The other
it's
one I don't.
2010.
The other one I don't remember at all. Oh wow, we had moved. We had
Yeah.
moved by then.
Yeah. Both came out October 2nd, 2010.
So yeah, y'all were probably definitely more into the tube by then.
Definitely. I'm getting into you.
But now we were watching Disney and Nick
Oh,
still.
yeah.
There were definitely shows we were watching.
But we're
just not
definitely
necessarily
starting
those.
to move over to the internet stuff.
Gosh, we haven't even looked at any live action. You know, we might have to save Disney for it. We might have to make it a two-parter. It might be a series. We might do Nick on this one, then Disney, then Cartoon Network.
There's a lot of good shows.
Yeah, it'll be a trilogy.
Especially when you go back through all of it, you know? But 2011, we got a couple good ones. One of the greatest, not greatest, but one that I really love that Nickelodeon has just kind of told to go fuck itself at this point. Winx Club.
I
I never watched.
mean, Winx Club was good, but what the...
Wings
That's what I'm saying. Back in 2011, the original series, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, but now
But
they have
since
Fate.
Nickelodeon has kind of told it to go fuck itself.
Now they have Fate, a Winx story. Or
We don't
whatever.
talk about Fate.
I hate it. I've only seen the first,
Yeah,
two
we-
episodes,
we have-
and I hate it.
Wait, you watched the first 2 episodes?
I didn't only see the first one.
I'm pretty sure I walked out on the first one.
Oh, yeah.
I have nothing to add to this part of the conversation except I think I remember buying you Winx Club toys at one point.
Winx Club's pretty good, though. But they even remove some characters from Fate.
Toys?
I feel like we had a few.
Oh, I wish I remembered those.
But it was like Sailor
maybe
Moon, but...
misremembering.
I probably did. I
It was like
shocked. I know
Nickelodeon
they're
Sailor
dolls.
Moon.
Something
That's
like
what
that.
it is.
The other show is Kung Fu Panda: Legends of Awesomeness.
Had a show?
Obviously a spin-off from the movie.
You don't remember it having a show?
I remember
No.
it being a show, but I don't necessarily remember watching it much. I remember.
I
saw
do remember
the first
Kung Fu
movie.
Panda in general.
Yeah. In 2012, we got The Legend of Korra.
Which we've already
It's been that
spoken
freaking
of.
long. Robot and Monster, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That was a great Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It might even be better than the original cartoon.
I hope
I never
it's
read the
not.
comics, so I don't want to compare it to that. But it was really damn good. It might be my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles iteration.
Nice.
I'd probably take it over the live action movies from when I was a kid. I might take it over. You know what? I probably would take it over the original cartoon. Because the original cartoon was fun, but I thought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon was awesome.
Yeah.
I have faint memory of it. I don't think I watched a whole lot.
Dylan and I
of
watched
it,
a good
so.
bit of it.
Yeah, it's good.
2013, we got Monsters vs. Aliens and Sanjay and Craig.
I'm pretty sure.
I remember
Monsters vs.
something.
Aliens. That's from a movie, right?
I believe so.
Believe
Is that
that-
the one with the stuff?
Like Blob
Yeah.
or Bob or
Something
whatever.
like that.
Yeah, I don't think
I
I've
think
seen.
we had like McDonald's.
I don't think
toys
I've seen
with
the
it.
movie or the cartoon.
Me neither.
It's the one with like the blue blob
Yeah, I
guy
think so.
and like the big person.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Anyway, the other one is
Sanjay and Craig, the boy and his snake. Dylan and
Yeah.
I watched a lot. We watched a lot of the
I
first
remember
season
that.
of that. We were into it big.
I don't
time
remember
then.
watching a whole lot, but I do
Sanjay.
remember
We moved on
watched
from
a
it,
few
but
episodes of
like
it.
Sanjay and Craig a lot.
2013 was a show called Breadwinners.
I don't remember that.
Okay,
I
2015.
feel like I know it, but I don't remember.
But obviously it
watching
wasn't big for us.
Yeah, we're getting into a lot of stuff that hasn't really been big for us because the more recent stuff and we
Yeah,
haven't been
I
into
just
Nick shows
play
as
video
much.
games all day.
So 2015 we got Harvey Beaks and Pig Goat Banana Cricket.
Pig, goat, banana.
Yep.
That's
Cricket?
either the best title ever or the worst title ever. Or maybe both at the same time.
Very possible.
Harvey Beaks sounds interesting, but I don't think I watched
It
it.
sounds familiar, but not something I watched.
but
Or something
don't
like I've
remember.
heard of, you know?
It sounds good, but it could be shit.
Yeah. 2017 we got Bunsen is a Beast and Welcome to the Rain.
I
I
know
know
neither
none
of
of
those.
Welcome to the Rain again sounds like one I've heard of, just
Not me.
in who
Sounds like the name of
whatever.
a 60s album.
But 2018, The Adventures of Kid Danger. Nickelodeon has done like
Is that
10
like Henry
shows of it
Danger?
already.
Yeah, that's what I first thought. But I went, oh wait, that's a live action show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nickelodeon has just done like 10
Yeah, and
different
the like
iterations of it
Henry
already.
Danger, Danger Force.
Yeah, that's-
Oh, it actually does connect.
I think so.
Interesting.
I could be wrong, but I do believe they are the same.
All right.
Because I know they've
I
done
never
multiple
even
live
really watched
action
the
things.
never
as
really
well.
even watched the live action show, so
No,
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
Yeah, I
saying bits
remember.
of it. And then,
I think we've
Tiny
seen like an
Bit of
episode.
Henry Danger.
and then the last of the former animated shows on Nickelodeon is Middle School. How have you pronounced this word? From 2019.
Moguls.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Yeah, me neither. And then we get into live action.
All right.
Starting in 89.
Now we should preface too. I'm sure these are all original Nickelodeon shows. So like some of the stuff I mentioned, like you can't do that
Pretty
on
sure,
television, isn't going to be on this list. Because
Yeah.
It's not actually a Nick production.
I'm pretty sure
Which
they
means
have
we still
another
won't.
section
We
for
still
that.
won't. Oh, I was going to say we may not solve the mystery of that other show that may or may not have existed.
But, okay, so starting in 89, we got The Adventures of Pete and Pete
Love
and Hey
it.
Dude.
And like I say, Pete and Pete started as a very small series. It was a couple
Yeah.
minutes long, and it would play between other shows. And then eventually they got their own, like 30-minute long.
Yeah,
which, of
according
course, we
to
all know was
this,
only 22 minutes.
It started as shorts in 89 and became a full show in 91.
Yeah, and then of course, Hey Dude, I mentioned that as
Hey
well.
Dude.
But Pete and Pete was great.
No.
Hey Dude was fine.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure it was better than fine. I haven't seen it in a long, long time, so
Yeah.
I enjoyed it at the time. That's the best I can say about it. But Pete and Pete really stuck with me.
Yeah. And then 3 shows in 91, Welcome Freshman, Clarissa Explains It All, and Salute Your Shirt.
I should have mentioned Clarissa Explains It All. I can't believe I forgot that was Melissa Joan Hart's first show. I liked Clarissa Explains It All very much.
Nice.
She had her friend Sam who would climb in her bedroom window, which I feel like is a pretty common trope at this point, but it
Yes.
was still fairly original at the time.
Yeah.
I loved Clarissa Explains It All. The Welcome Freshman, it sounds vaguely familiar, so I probably checked it out.
Mm-hmm.
But either it didn't last long, or my interest in it didn't last long.
Okay.
And of course, Salute Your Shorts. I already mentioned the summer camp show, which was good. It was one of those shows that kind of had that weird thing where you have a main character,
Yeah.
but after the first season or so, for whatever reason, the main character leaves.
Interesting.
It could be because they,
Yeah.
thematically, narratively, there was a reason to write them out, or because the actor wanted to leave, or was forced to leave, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But it's just so it's that weird dynamic of you set up this one thing and then they're gone, and then you focus on other characters. But that happens with shows, and
Yeah.
it doesn't tarnish it at all. Like I say, I put it in the same category as Hey Dude, something I certainly enjoyed at the time, and Clarissa Explains It All would be up in that Pete and Pete classic zone.
Nice. 94 is The Secret World of Alex Mack and My Brother and Me.
I remember The Secret World of Alex Mack, but I don't remember enough to be like, hey, that was great or bad. I think I definitely watched at least a little bit of it. My Brother and Me, I don't remember at all by name.
Okay.
But you said 94?
Yes.
So again, I was kind of in and out of Nick at that point. I was more into music and pro wrestling and sports. And
Yeah. Next in 96 is Kenan and Kel.
It would be a different category. Kenan and Kel was a spin-off of All That, but All That would be in a different category, I assume, since it was a variety show.
No.
Like I said, I think I watched Kenan and Kel when it first started, but I didn't stick with it a really long time just because my interest had moved to different sort of fare.
Yeah. I don't think I ever actually watched Kenan and Kel, but I do know Good Burger.
Yeah, like I said, by the time they made Good Burger, I had long since moved on. I've never even seen Good Burger.
I like Good Burger. I don't like specifically remember details of it, but I remember it.
I've seen more of Kenan Thompson on Saturday Night Live than I have Kenan and Kel.
I know one of them was on that Ryan's World show. That's on whatever channel now.
Yeah.
In 98 was Cousin Skeeter.
I remember that name.
Nice.
I'm not sure. Skeeter was a character on Doug, but I don't think this was connected to that, especially since it's live action. I'm sure it wasn't. The name sounds familiar, but it's not. It's either something that just passed through, you know.
It ended exactly 1 month after I was born.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I feel like I've watched it, but it didn't stick with me.
Alright, in 99, 100 Deeds for Eddie McDowd.
I don't remember that at all.
Okay. In 2000, we got The Brothers Garcia and Noah Knows Best.
Both names sound vaguely familiar, but again, that's not a time when I would have been watching a lot of live action shows on Nickelodeon.
No, someone just pointed out that there's a YouTuber who does like Toka videos and stuff like I do. Very popular, named Noah Knows.
Alright.
2001, something called Taina? I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't ring any bells.
No. 2003, Romeo.
That might actually be Masterpiece on Romeo, the musical artist.
Uh-huh.
I could be completely wrong about that, but I think that's who it is, but it's not something I watched.
Okay, well now at 2004 we're getting into some of the stuff I know and I like very much. So in 2004 we got Drake and Josh and Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Both really great shows.
I think Drake and Josh is remembered more than Ned's, but Ned's might have actually been a better show. No, I think Ned's was probably a better show. Drake and Josh, Drake and Josh, the lead actors, Drake Bell and Josh Peck.
Yes.
They're very memorable and they stand out, so I think they sort of carry that. And of course you had really great side characters like Helen and Crazy Steve.
Uh-huh.
And I hated Miranda Cosgrove on that show. She was so evil.
She was.
But you had a lot of memorable characters on that, but I think Ned's Declassified was actually a better show.
Nice. I just remember loving both of them. And I want to say, I don't remember if maybe the actor is on TikTok or not, or if this is just... Well, I haven't even finished my statement. But, I don't remember if the actor himself is on TikTok or if this was just a comment I saw on somebody else's content. But I remember some people on TikTok were sitting there like, we need Ned to come back. We need him to get on TikTok. We need him to do an adult survival guide now, please. It's like, you taught us this stuff. Can you teach us adult one now? That would be helpful.
Do you remember those shows, Dylan? I'm sure you remember Drake and Josh.
Yeah, I remember Drake and Josh. I don't remember the other one.
Yeah. It's a shame, because I would say Ned's a better show.
I really like
Not that Drake and Josh was bad.
Another show in 2004 that I personally don't recognize is Unfabulous.
I don't know that.
Name sounds familiar, but I guess it's not one we had much interest in.
I don't believe so. Then we've got two from 2005. This one I don't recognize. It's called Mr. Meaty. Anybody?
No.
Okay. This other one I very much recognize and remember enjoying. Zoe 101.
Yeah.
I don't remember
good
that.
Show.
The show that ended because she got pregnant in real life.
Yeah.
And then it's not really a spin-off, but it sort of connects to Victorious, right? Because it's the same actress.
Yeah, same actress.
Victoria Justice.
Same
but it's
actress.
not the same character.
Correct. Okay. Not the same character, but pretty much same concept.
But it's one of those
for the show.
It's one of those sort of like iCarly and Drake and Josh. You have several of the same people in it, but it's not really a direct spin-off. But it's kind of a real life spin-off, but narratively it's not a spin-off.
Yeah, I just want to point out, because of course we just acknowledged the whole Victorious and Zoe 101, the same actress. A while ago, I was rewatching some Victorious.
Of course, the lead actress in Zoe 101 was Britney Spears' younger sister.
Yes.
What's her first name?
Jamie?
Jamie Lynn Spears, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But so I was recently researching, like, Zoe 101 and whatnot, and I looked at, like, the pictures of the main cast for Zoe 101 and the pictures for the main cast of Victorious, and I was just sitting there like, Nickelodeon really just gave us the same show twice.
Can I just say too, unless it was just her choice, her getting pregnant is a stupid reason for the show to stop.
Yeah.
My personal opinion. Unless it was just her choice to, like, I just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all the details. I do know a little more about that situation, but
Anyway, it's not really relevant to our deep dive.
Exactly. 2006, Just for Kicks. Anybody?
Don't recall it.
Me neither. We've got 3 from 2007, 2 of which very good, but the other one, Just Jordan. Anybody?
I remember that.
Don't remember it.
I remember the name for sure, but I can't bring any details to mind.
Okay. Well, the other 2, I'm sure you remember. The Naked Brothers Band and iCarly.
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
We already mentioned
Everyone
iCarly, of course,
knows.
starring Miranda Cosgrove
Yes,
and
good one.
Jerry Traynor, who played Crazy Steve, both of which are from Drake and Josh, but playing entirely different characters.
Yeah.
And, of course, what was Sam, the actress who played Jeanette McCurdy?
Yes.
And what was
She's on TikTok.
Who was their tech guy? What was his
Freddie?
name? What?
Freddie?
Freddie, thank you. I don't know the actor's name, but
Aren't they? No.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it in my favorite quote. I don't know if you want to call them children's shows, but these youth-oriented shows that we're looking at, I don't know if I'd put it in as one of my all-time favorites, but I'd put it above Drake and Josh. It was a damn solid show.
It was a really good show.
And we were with it pretty much from the beginning to the end. We watched most of it.
Yeah.
We saw it begin and we saw it end, and we watched most of it in the middle.
Yeah. Naked Brothers Band.
Naked Brothers Band. Naked Brothers Band was inconsistent, not in its content, but just in its presentation. Like, it was on sometimes and it wasn't.
Yeah.
They did several movies and then it was gone. But I like the Naked Brothers. I like their music too. I've still got their CD.
I was going to say, that's a show that I don't remember the details too much about. Like, I can remember some of it, but not a whole lot. But I remember enjoying it, and I very much do remember the music.
Well, I'm pretty sure it
from
started as a movie, and then they
Okay.
did the series, and they did a couple more movies, and then the series just sort of went away. And the Naked Brothers, the 2 kids, Nate Wolf and... It's Nate Wolf, right?
I believe so.
And I can't remember the younger one's name, but their dad was the band leader on Arsenio Hall's talk show.
Nice.
But I love the Naked Brothers Band.
Yes.
I'd take them over the Jonas Brothers any day.
If I could find my old MP3 player, a good chunk of what's on
That's
there is
not
Naked
love,
Brothers Band.
then what is? That's not friendship, then what is?
Alright, 2008, we got True Jackson VP. Do you remember that?
I remember True
it.
Jackson. VP.
He doesn't remember it.
I don't remember it enough to be like, I don't remember, any storyline arcs, but I definitely remember watching it.
Yeah, I don't remember. Again, it's one of those things I don't remember the details, but I remember it being good.
I'm pretty sure True Jackson became the vice president. I think that was the conceit of the show.
But 2009, Big Time Rush. Good, in my
Oh,
opinion.
about the boy band,
Oh, wow.
right?
Yes. About Big Time Rush.
Yeah, but they were a boy band.
Yes, about the boy
That's what I'm
band.
saying. But just
Yeah.
think,
It's like, it took you a minute, like, oh, the boy band.
I had to think for a minute, like Big Time Rush. Oh yes, about the boy band.
Yes.
That was a solid show.
It was a good show, yes.
Kind of-
They also had an evil little sister.
Kind
I'm sure.
of forgettable to the point that I don't remember much of it. But I
Those are
definitely
the-
remember
enjoyed
being
it.
solid. But that was also a weird time where we were watching and we weren't.
Yeah.
Other things were going
I think-
on, so
We're kind of getting closer to the time where we were kind of starting to tune out of Nickelodeon a bit more, so. But then in 2010, we got Victorious. Took them a minute,
we
but,
already mentioned.
And then this one is not one I know.
And well, Victorious introduced us to, of course, Ariana Grande, right?
Yes, that is Ariana Grande star
And
with her red hair.
They did the crossover with iCarly,
Yep.
and then we got Sam and Cat, the spin-off series from both of them,
Yep.
featuring her and Jeanette McCurdy, and then she is what she is.
Yeah. 2011, Bucket and Skinner's Epic Adventures.
I know nothing about that.
Me neither. We got 2 in 2012, neither of which I'm specifically recognizing. One is called How to Rock and another called Marvin Marvin.
Marvin sounds familiar.
Kind
How to
of.
Rock. That's a pretty generic title. to the point that it sounds like I could have heard of it, but
Yeah.
it could be like a dozen other things.
We got 3 in 2013, one of which you just mentioned, Sam and Cat.
The spin-off of iCarly and Victorious.
Yes.
Man, that's 2013.
Yeah.
I feel like that didn't
I had a
last.
poster.
I feel like that didn't last very long.
It didn't. Again, I'm not going to go into details,
Not
but
for
I've
any
heard a
negative.
lot of
Not for any.
things about
I'm not.
my
I
gym,
just
too.
feel like it wasn't around very long.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all. I
It definitely.
Like it was
No,
here.
it literally lasted a year.
I just feel like it was here and then it was gone.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, Ariana Grande is a singer.
Yeah.
Like I know she sang in the series. I
Yeah.
remember her singing on.
I don't know if Jeanette McCurdy has actually done any Hallmark movies, but I know that at least
Don't tell
on
me fucking Ariana
TikTok.
Grande has.
Oh no, she's definitely not Hallmark. But Jeanette McCurdy,
No
I know
offense to
her
anybody who is
TikTok.
Hallmark, by the way.
I know her TikTok. She's very much Hallmark vibes if she hasn't been on a Hallmark movie at this point. But other shows in 2013 were The Thundermans and The Haunted Hathaways.
I remember both those titles, but I don't necessarily remember watching them much.
Yeah,
the Thundermans they were like a superhero family, right?
Maybe I don't specifically remember
I'm
much
pretty
about
sure
that
they were.
one.
Like whatever the source of their superpowers, they were
Yeah.
like a superpowered family. I'm almost positive.
I remember hearing of the Haunted Hathaways, but
And the
yeah, I
Haunted
don't
Hathaways, I
recall
remember the
watching.
title, but I can't tell you any more details.
Yeah, here's quite a few in 2013, most of which, no, like 3 of which I know the names of, but none of which I've watched. Starting with Every Which Way, then Henry Danger, which you mentioned
Every Which Way,
earlier.
isn't that the
Danger.
movie with Clint Eastwood and the monkey? I'm kidding. It's Any Which Way But Loose.
Nice. Then
Actually,
we
there was a spin-off too, but or a sequel.
Mhm.
Maybe that was the sequel. There were a couple, and it wasn't a monkey. It was like an orangutan.
Nice.
Maybe it was a chimp.
Same
And then we
difference.
also got Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and
An
Dawn.
orangutan is an ape.
Same.
Monkey has a tail.
We got Max and Shred, and 100 Things to Do Before High School.
Man,
The last
yeah,
title sounds
I
vaguely
think-
familiar, but the others, I
Yeah,
have
the only one I can
recall of.
recognize is Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn.
Even that one I have no recollection of.
Yeah. And then quite a few again in 2015. We got Bella and the Bulldogs, one that I remember.
The
but
title sounds familiar.
yeah, not one I watched. Make It Pop, Talia in the Kitchen.
I feel like I remember Make It Pop. That was about a singer or something.
I don't know.
I think the pop in that case was like pop music.
Uh-huh.
I could be totally off on that, but that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. Game Shakers, one that I heard.
Game
but I
Shakers, that
don't
sounds familiar
remember
too,
watching.
but I don't remember what it was about.
I don't remember the details. I don't even remember if I ever watched it. There's also Ritz Academy.
I don't recall that one.
Yeah. And then 3 in 2016, School of Rock, The Other Kingdom, and Legendary Dudas.
I would guess School of Rock is a TV version of the movie School of Rock.
I believe so. And I kind of remember the name The Other Kingdom. But,
Yeah, but again, that's a fairly
No, I
generic
don't.
title.
Yeah.
Could be confusing with a lot of other properties.
yeah, and then the last 3, all from 2018, is Night Squad, Starfalls, and Cousins for Life.
I don't know
I
any of
remember none of
those.
those.
Me neither. And then we get into drama.
Some
Yeah,
of those would have
drama.
fallen under the banner
Wait.
of drama.
Look.
But
I
just
don't
go
know.
with it.
I'm going. Starting in 83 with The Third Eye.
Don't recall it.
Okay, 91, 15.
No. Well, again, I'm sure I watched it. I'm sure I saw it. I'm sure I saw at least an episode
Uh-huh.
of it. And if we were close to that time period, I might could tell you more about it. But it didn't stay with me as much as Hey Dude, Salute Your Shorts, Clarissa, Pete,
Yeah.
Pete.
96, I won't be surprised if you at least know one of these. We have Space Cases and The Mystery Files of Shelby Woo.
I remember Mystery Files of Shelby Woo. I don't know how much I ever watched it by myself, and I don't know if we ever watched it together, but I certainly remember the title.
Yeah,
The other one I don't recall at all.
I don't think I've ever watched it. I think that was a book or something that I borrowed from school.
I definitely remember the title, but
Yeah.
I don't know how much I saw of it. I probably checked it out.
Yeah. In 97, The Journey of Alan Strange.
That sounds familiar as well, but again, it's just a check it out and move on kind of
Yeah.
thing. Not necessarily because it was bad, but just
Yeah.
for whatever reason it didn't hold my
I
interest.
just realized that my favorite Nickelodeon show is on this list. But 98, this is not my favorite. Animorphs.
I don't know.
Remember
any of those.
Animorphs?
Not really. Title
remember the
sounds somewhat
books.
familiar.
And the red covers. 2000, Caitlin's Ray.
Don't remember that.
Okay, 2011 is my favorite Nick show, and
Lots
it
of
deserves more
space
seasons.
between these.
Yes, but it deserves more seasons. House of Anubis.
I
No.
only know it because of you. I don't ever remember watching it with you.
Yeah, I don't think we ever watched it together. I remember I'd get home from school, do my homework, and then watch it. 2013, Dead Time Stories,
No.
and the last one, 2017, I Am Frankie. Sounds like I heard of it, but not one I watched.
Yeah, I think so. I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about
But
it.
again, it's fairly. Frankie would be more unique, but the I
Yeah.
am such and such, that's a pretty generic
I am so
Yeah, there are
title
two
structure.
shows under the action category. In 2009, The Troop, and in 2011, Super Ninjas.
Oh, I recall
I
that.
kind of remember.
I
that
don't
one.
remember watching it a bunch, but I think we checked it out.
Yeah,
The
his
Troop sounds familiar too. We probably checked it out too, but just didn't hang with it.
Here's some that you would know.
What are we doing now?
Game shows.
Oh, well, I want to say.
This is a very long list.
I know the one that's going to come up, but
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
But there's one that I did watch where they were going through like a house. Maybe it was called Fun House or House something.
Okay.
And I actually had the board game version of it,
Okay.
which kind of sucked.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But Of course, Double Dare is going to be on there.
Yes, and
Yes.
that's where we're going to start.
I should have mentioned that. That would have been another big part of early Nickelodeon for me.
Yeah.
Along with
Yeah, there's like
The
5 different Double Dares.
Yeah, I'm just going to say.
the original Double Dare and Family
Yes.
Double Dare. Those the Dumble Dare. Welcome everybody to Hogwarts to Dumble Dare.
When they could no longer do the Triwizard Tournament.
But
That's what they
seriously,
did.
Double Dare was a huge part of early Nick for me.
Yes.
I can't believe I
Or
forgot
like
about
Hogwarts
it.
Family Feud.
No, okay. So we're starting at Double Dare, but I'm going to say disclaimer. Technically, we're going to jump around a little bit with these dates because of Double Dare. So starting in '86, I assume came back in 2000 because it has 2 different premiere dates for it.
Quite possibly.
And then listed as like under things, there's a whole other premiere date. And we've got Family Double Dare, Super Sloppy Double Dare, Super Special Double Dare, Double Dare 2000, and Double Dare 2018 Revival. So
We
bunch of
watched the
different Double
2018
Dares.
revival, of course. And
That's-
I remember the original Double Dare, Family Double Dare,
Yeah.
and I may have even checked out Double Dare 2000.
Yeah. But it
What
has
is this?
those 3
Street Fighter 2,
years
it has
back.
20 different versions.
Yes.
Double Dare would be one of the all-time Nickelodeon classics, without a doubt.
Super Double Dare 2 Turbo.
Very little would go above Double Dare on my list of Nick classics, to be honest with you.
Championship
Nice.
Edition.
87, Finders Keepers.
Don't recall it.
Don't know,
89, Think Fast.
don't know what that
I'm
is.
pretty sure I watched that, but I
think
can't
I've heard of
recall.
it.
There's going to be 2 around 93. There's going to be a video game
Okay.
show, too.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I remember that.
Okay. Another 89 one real quick. Make the Grade.
Nah.
Okay.
Don't have much on that.
90, Wild and Crazy Kids.
I remember Wild and Crazy Kids.
I know nothing about it. Okay.
It wasn't one of my favorites, but I definitely remember it.
Alright, 2 from 91. Get the picture and what would you do? Okay.
What would you do? I feel like
I
know that from,
remember,
like, memes or something.
I remember those titles, but I can't. I'm assuming Get the Picture was probably like a drawing game, or like when there's a draw or
Probably.
Pictionary,
Uh-huh.
and the other one sounds somewhat familiar, but
Yeah, and I think I know it from like memes.
Possibly. Okay, here you go. In 92. Nick Arcade. Maybe? No?
no, Nick
No.
Arcade's. Nick Arcade's
Interesting.
it's a different show from what I'm thinking of, but I do remember
Okay.
Nick Arcade, and in fact, the other show maybe it wasn't even a Nickelodeon show,
Maybe
but I
not.
definitely remember Nick Arcade. And Dylan and I saw something about it. I know on a documentary we were watching the other day.
Nice.
And that brought back the memories of it. It's not one that really stuck with me, but I definitely watched it.
Alright.
Because they played like arcade-style games in there.
Uh-huh.
That might have even been the one where they used almost a version of virtual reality where you kind of became the game characters.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. You'd be running and jumping and it made it look like you were in a Mario game.
Nice.
But like real primitive, like a live-action you with like
Uh-huh.
an animated background. Which I mean is still pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's what I remember from Nick Arcade. But the
Yeah.
one I'm talking about, you actually played video games.
Interesting.
And you may have done some of that on Nick Arcade as well. But if I'm
Uh-huh.
remembering correctly, that's what Nick Arcade was.
Okay. Well, here's another one from 92 called Nickelodeon Guts.
Yeah, Guts is something a lot of people reference, but I don't remember watching it much.
Alright, here's one, the only one from 93. And I feel as though I've at least heard of, if not even seen bits of it, called Legends of the Hidden Temple.
That's the one that I know is going to come up. That everybody, all the quote '90s kids reference it, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Again, I turned 14 that year.
Uh-huh.
I was getting into other
14
stuff,
and 93?
How hidden even is that temple?
but yeah, that's the one a lot of people still reference. But it was just a little late for me.
It was a little early
In
for me.
95, we got Global Guts.
Hey, I gotta stop you too. That means either I'm misremembering the title, or the Funhouse game wasn't actually a Nickelodeon show.
It may not have been. It may have been like on Nickelodeon, but not one of Nick's things.
True. But yeah, I swear there was like, and like they had like a house, and you'd go through the house looking for shit and like tearing up the place. And that's sort of what the board game was. With like a bunch of, it was like a box show over and had like a bunch of rooms, and you had to like just find stuff in it, which just can't really recreate going through a real
Yeah.
place looking for stuff. But okay, anyway, please continue. Global Guts was obviously just an expansion of the original
Yeah.
Guts.
Here's one that has 2 premiere dates as 97 and 2012. Figure It Out. Figure Out Family Style and Figure It Out Wild Style.
Hey, we watched those. Remember
I
that?
remember
I'm pretty sure. Wasn't that? Am I wrong? Isn't that the one that had the what was the date on that?
Well, we had 97 and 2012.
Okay, maybe that's not the same one I'm thinking of then.
We may have like
Well, there was
watched
one we
the
used to watch.
2012
Remember, it had
one.
like that's what I was
Yeah.
referring. It had like 4 panelists, and they were people from Nick shows. And if you got stuff wrong, you'd get slimed. And you had
Yeah, I kind of remember
I think
that.
that's figured out, and I remember
Probably.
watching it with y'all. I don't remember watching the '97 version, but I do want to say too. I feel like Guts was an attempt to sort of rip off Double Dare, to recreate Double Dare, and I don't know. For the
98.
original.
Yawn.
I don't know anything. Yarn or yawn?
You're on.
Oh, you are on.
And me failing to speak, apparently.
Yawn.
Wow. No, I don't.
Okay, 2001, Spunk.
Mm-mm.
Okay, we got 2 from 2002, Robot Wars and Scaredy Camp.
Laura sounds cool.
By name, I don't recognize
Me
any.
neither. I'm wondering too now that I think about the video game show, if it was Nick Arcade, maybe it had 2 components to it where you played games and then you got put in the thing. Because I mean, if it was on in '92, how long did it say how long it ran?
It does, but I did not check. Let me check.
Because I'm just thinking I remember
Ran
watching
until 93.
93 is
over
about
a year.
93 is about the time I remember watching it. So that could very well. It may not
Yeah.
be 2 separate shows. I'm sure I remember the elements where you would sit there and do like proto-platforming where it made it look like you were in a video game. But it could have had actual video game elements as well. So maybe maybe it is just one show.
Alright, well, in 2008, My Family's Got Guts.
Okay.
Yeah. In 2009, this
Family
is
Double
one. This is one that I'm pretty sure we watched, and I'm pretty sure I remember. Brain Surge.
I don't remember that.
Sounds.
It sounds very
But again,
familiar
it
to
sounds
me.
like a fairly generic title. Like there's a lot of things
Yeah.
named something like that. So
2014, Webheads.
I don't know anything
Me
about
neither.
that. I
2016.
can guess at it, but
Yeah. 2016, Paradise Run.
nope,
2018, Keep It Spotless.
nope.
2019, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Not originally a Nickelodeon show.
Definitely not. Unless they got permission to do their own thing.
I mean,
Apparently
they may have rebooted it, but it's not
It
an
lasted
original
from June
Nickelodeon
to
concept.
November 2019.
Yeah.
So, okay, now variety programs, and this starts with April 1st, 1979. Nickel Flicks. That's where they started.
Frick is
Does it
that?
say how long it ran?
April 1st, 1979.
Well, that predates me.
Very true. America Goes Bananas, also from 79.
If it was only on in '79, I never saw it.
No, it lasted until 80.
I turned 1 in '80, so
Facts. These next few are all from... I mean, they could have done rewinds.
I guess I could have played it. Yeah,
But all these others are from 79 as well. By the way, Hocus Pocus, video comic book, and children's classics.
none of those stand out to me.
Here's a few from 80. First row features, pop clips, and live wire.
No, move on.
Okay, a couple from 81, Kids' Rights, and Reggie Jackson's World of Sports.
Reggie Jackson was a famous baseball player, in case y'all don't know.
I do not know.
But no, I'm not familiar with any of those. Again, if it didn't really air at least mid-'80s, I'm not going to have seen it probably.
Okay, well, we've got some 82 hit, Against the Odds, and Stand By, Lights, Camera, Action.
None of that means anything to me.
Alright, 83, Mr. Wizard's World.
Oh, I forgot Mr. Wizard was on Nickelodeon. I love Mr. Wizard. He was sort of like my generation's Bill Nye the Science
I was gonna say, that's something that I've heard of, but I'm not
I've shown you guys clips on YouTube too, where you have kids come over and they do experiments. So he was like my generation's Bill Nye the Science Guy. I love Mr. Wizard.
Is Hank Green supposed to be the next generation's?
So I would definitely put that up there with certainly with the early Nick classics like Double Dare and You Can't Do That on Television.
Ignore the
Mr.
fact
Wizard
that I'm
definitely
now
belongs
eating
in-
grass.
He definitely belongs in that group. But I think Mr. Wizard predates Nickelodeon, to be honest. I think he was doing shows back in like the 60s or 70s.
Quite possibly. According to this went from 83 to 2000.
I could be wrong about that too, but I'm pretty sure. And obviously, I first saw him on Nickelodeon, but I think that he actually goes back further.
Nice. In 84, we have Nick Rocks and Out of Control.
Out of Control sounds familiar. Couldn't tell you much about it. I think that might have been the show that Dave Coulier was on from Full House.
Okay.
So I think I saw a little bit of it, but doesn't stand out to me like, oh, I remember that. But I do remember the title, and I can kind of sort of see the title card in my head.
Nice.
So if it's what I'm thinking of, I definitely saw it, but I don't know how much I saw it.
Alright, here's a couple from 85. National Geographic Explorer and Turkey Television.
I don't remember anything about those.
If that wasn't just 30 minutes of turkeys, I don't want it. In 86, Rated K, For Kids, By Kids.
I definitely remember that. That might have been the talk show that I mentioned to you.
Okay.
That could well have been it. Because I definitely remember that title.
Nice. In 87, 16 Cinema.
Don't recall that.
And here's a couple from 88. Don't Just Sit There and Kids Court.
That's
Kids Court sounds
It
familiar.
does sound familiar.
But again, it's it's a specific title, but it's also fairly generic. So.
Yeah.
But I think I did see that. I assume it was like a kid's version of the People's Court, but not
Probably.
for real legal cases, maybe
Yeah.
just for disputes between brothers and sisters and friends and
Probably.
stuff. That's what comes to mind.
Yes. 89, Total Panic.
No, I don't have much much on that.
Alright, a couple from 90, Skate TV and Outta Here.
They both sound relatively familiar, but nothing that was important to me.
Yeah, a couple from 91, Launchbox and the Nick Hit List.
Did you say Launchbox or Lunchbox?
Launch.
Yeah. Again, I'm sure it's something that was on my radar, but just, didn't stay in my orbit.
Here's a few from 92. The Wild Side Show, Nick News with Linda Ellerby.
I remember Nick News with Linda Ellerby.
Nice.
I remember, I used to think that was again, I was young, but they covered real life topics and took a real life look at stuff and didn't sugarcoat stuff and tried to present it in a meaningful way where kids could understand it and actually learn something. I thought Nick News and Linda Ellerby were really great. I was a big fan of those.
That was a YouTube thing.
For what they were, again, you didn't go to them for comedy. It was...
Yeah. That was a YouTube thing that was kind of like that. I remember it on YouTube that we had to watch in 6th grade. And I really enjoyed it, but I've never been able to remember what it was, so find it again.
Yeah, at least at the time, I remember thinking that was something pretty special.
Right, the other one from 92 is Roundhouse.
Recognize the name, but
Nice.
not on my list of classics.
Nice. The only one from 93, Renoville. I have questions.
You said Wienerville.
Yes.
I thought you said Renoville. No, I'm not sure about that one.
Okay, a couple from 99, Fred on Your Head Show and The Amanda Show. Did you watch The Amanda Show?
I think that was another spin-off from all that. I think it's Amanda
I believe
Bynes.
so.
I believe I did, yeah. And Fred on Your Head actually sounds familiar, too.
I don't know anything about it. I have heard of The Amanda Show repeatedly, though. 2000, A Walk in Your Shoes.
Because Amanda Bynes went crazy a few years ago, but I've never seen a Walk in Your Shoes.
2001, On the Team. Okay, 2002, The Nick Cannon Show.
Obviously, Nick Cannon's show. I remember him starting on Nickelodeon because I think he might have even been on all that. But that's not really something. Again, not really my era. So.
Now I just want to point out we are going from 2002 to 2012. They went a while. You got to see this in 2012.
It actually does sound familiar.
Okay.
Probably something we watched a little bit, but
Possibly.
either didn't like it or just didn't find time for.
Yeah, here's the only one from 2013 that sounds like I've heard of it, but not something I specifically remember. Awesomeness TV.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
2014, React to That.
I don't remember that at all, but again, I can guess at what it is.
Yeah. A few from 2016. We have All In with Cam Newton. Crash Leaks.
Cam Newton had a show on fucking Nick?
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I do remember, like...
How the fuck did I not... I'm not saying I would have watched it, but I would have given it a chance at least.
Yeah. And Jagger Eaton's Mega Life.
Yeah, I know nothing about
Me
that.
neither. 2017, we got two. We got The Dude Perfect Show and Lip Sync Battle Shorties.
Yep, no, I don't know anything about those. I mean, I know Dude Perfect from YouTube, but...
And then 2019, the last one on this specific list is America's Most Musical Family.
Cool.
Cool. You want to get into preschool?
No.
Holy fuck, you realize we are already over an hour into
You
this.
don't need
How much of this list is left?
Hold on, let me check. After preschool, we get live action preschool, mini-series, and then that's that.
Macy's.
Well, there's acquired programming, but if we don't look at that...
I would like to look at that because there's
Okay,
some things
and that would complete the former programming list.
Disney's definitely going to wait. I think the rest of this might have to wait. I think we might just make this a two-parter.
Oh, damn. Okay.
I mean, it seems like an odd place to stop, but it is a place to stop.
You want to stop before preschool?
Yeah, we'll pick up with preschool. Because, I mean, I'm sure,
preschool's
not so
gonna
much
be
the early
big.
stuff, but any stuff from y'all's era, we would have watched a lot. And some of it we're
Preschool's
still
gonna be
watching
big.
because of Johnny. So, yeah, why don't we save that for next time? I didn't
Okay.
expect this Nickelodeon deep dive to be so long, but
To be so
hey,
deep.
I don't mind a little more content. I hope you all have enjoyed it so far, and make sure to come back. I assume we'll pick it up next week.
Yeah.
And then we have
Definitely.
Disney and Cartoon Network at least to look forward to.
Yes.
And maybe even a deep dive into the Saturday mornings of my youth.
Yes.
So anyway, on that note, come back then when the conversation will continue. But until then, I will continue to be Maddie.
Lexi.
Dylan.
And this is LexiCon concluded.
Bye.
Bye.